It is late, and the number is still there. You closed the banking app an hour ago. You put the phone face down on the nightstand. You told yourself, out loud almost, that you would deal with it in the morning, that nothing good comes from looking at it again tonight. And then you turned off the light. And here you are, eyes open in the dark, doing the math one more time. The rent, the card that is climbing again. The bill you forgot was coming until it came. The thing that broke at the worst possible week, because it is always the worst possible week. You add it up in your head, the way you have added it up 100 times, hoping that this time the total will land somewhere softer. It does not. It never does. The money runs out before the month does, and you already knew that. And knowing it again at 2 in the morning does not change a single figure. It only keeps you awake. If that is you tonight, if you are lying here with your chest tight and your jaw clenched, running numbers that never come out right, then I am glad you found your way here. I want you to hear this before anything else. You do not have to solve it right now. Not in the next 30 minutes. Not before the sun comes up. You do not have to fix one single thing to have earned your rest. For the length of this prayer, the math can wait. The bills will still be there in the morning. And so will your strength to face them. But only if you let yourself sleep. So for now, just be here. You have done enough today. You have carried enough today, because here is what money worry does that almost nothing else does. It follows you into the one place you were supposed to be safe. Think about that for a moment. There are troubles that leave you alone at night, but money is not one of them. Money worry waits until the house is quiet. It waits until the children are down, until the dishes are done, until the last light in the street goes out, and there is nothing left to distract you. And then it climbs the stairs. It sits on the edge of your bed. It leans in close, right when you are most tired and least able to argue back, and it starts to whisper. During the day you can hold it off. You keep busy. You keep moving. You put the fear behind a door and you lean your whole weight against that door and you get through the hours. You answer the emails. You make the small talk. You say, "I am fine. How are you?" And you mean none of it and no one notices. That takes enormous strength, by the way. The strength it takes just to look ordinary while you are afraid. But at night there is nothing to do and nowhere to move. And the door you have been leaning on all day swings quietly open. And the fear walks in and sits on your chest. And it says the same 3 things it always says. What if you cannot? What if it does not work out? What if you have already failed, and you just do not know it yet? I want to name something now, gently, before we go one step further. The tiredness you feel, it is real, and it is not laziness. It is not weakness. It is not a character flaw that other better people have somehow avoided. A mind that lies awake, trying to protect the people it loves. A mind that keeps searching in the dark for a way through. That is not a broken mind. That is a mind that cares. Worn thin from caring for so long with so little rest. You are not awake tonight because something is wrong with you. You are awake because you are carrying something genuinely heavy, and you have been carrying it a long time. And this is the part that breaks my heart a little. No one has offered to take even a corner of the weight off your hands. You have been holding all of it, alone, for longer than anyone should have to. So let me say the thing I think you may need to hear most tonight. You are not alone in this. And I do not mean that as a nice phrase to make you feel better for a moment. I mean it as a plain and literal fact. Right now, in this same hour, in the same dark, there are people all over the world lying exactly where you are. staring at the same ceiling, doing the same arithmetic, afraid of the same kind of mourning. It is night somewhere over every ocean on Earth, and in every one of those places, someone is awake because of money. There is a nurse who finished a double shift and still does not know how she will cover the gap this month, lying awake because the numbers do not care how hard she worked. There is a father sitting on the edge of the bath so he does not wake anyone, doing sums on the back of an envelope, trying to make a small amount stretch over a large need. There is a young person who was so sure they would have it all figured out by now, who did everything they were told to do, lying awake, wondering where the plan went wrong. There is an older person who was certain the worrying would be finished by this stage of life, and is finding, quietly, and without telling anyone, that it is not. There are people in big houses awake for this reason, and people in single rooms awake for this reason, and the fear feels exactly the same in both. You are one light among thousands tonight. Thousands of you, all awake, all afraid, all lying in the dark quietly, hoping that somewhere someone understands what this feels like. I understand. I do, and far more than I ever could. The one who made you understands. Every figure, every fear, every sleepless hour of it. And now I need to say something else clearly, because it matters, and because almost no one says it to you. This is not your fault. Money carries a kind of shame that almost no other trouble carries. And I want you to notice how strange that is. When someone cannot sleep because they are grieving, people gather around them. They bring meals. They sit with them. They say, "Of course you cannot sleep. Of course this is hard." But when someone cannot sleep because of money, they hide it. They tell no one. They lie awake completely alone, because somewhere along the way they came to believe that admitting the number is the same as admitting they have failed as a person. So you smile at work. You keep up the front. You say we are doing okay to the one or two people who might actually have listened. And then you come home and you lie down and you carry the truth by yourself in the dark, because it feels too shameful to set down anywhere a person might see it. Hear me on this. A hard season is not a verdict on your worth. Please let that sentence in, even if you have to hear it more than once. Prices rose faster than anyone's wages. The work dried up through no decision of yours. Someone you love got sick, and you did the only thing a loving person could do. The car died. The roof leaked. The hours got cut. The unexpected thing arrived exactly when you had nothing spare. Life happened to you. It happens to everyone. Eventually, in one form or another. And you have been doing your honest best inside circumstances you did not choose and could not control. The debt is a fact about your circumstances. It is not a fact about your value. Those are two completely different things. And I want you to see how the fear has been quietly blending them into one all night long. The fear takes a number on a screen and turns it into a sentence about who you are. It says, "This figure is what you are worth," and that is a lie. It has always been a lie. You were worth immeasurably more than any number could hold before you owed a single cent. And you are worth exactly that much right now, tonight, with the balance exactly as it is. If these prayers are meeting you where you actually are, in the honest places, the ones you do not say out loud, I would love for you to subscribe. That way, Bethany Rest can find its way back to you on the next night you cannot sleep, and the one after that. You will not have to go looking. It will be here. And when you have a quiet moment, not now, there is no hurry. You might let me know in the comments what country you are listening from tonight. There is something steadying about seeing the list grow. About realizing just how many of us are lying awake together across all these different time zones, all reaching for the same peace. You really are not alone. The comments prove it every single night. Now, let us go a little deeper, down beneath the numbers, to the thing that is actually keeping you awake, because it is not really the number. I want to show you that. If money worry were only math, you could set it down and sleep, truly. You could say, the sum is the sum, and I cannot change it at 2 in the morning, so I will pick it back up with a clear head tomorrow. And then you had roll over and rest, the way you had set down any other unfinished task. Nobody lies awake all night, unable to stop thinking about a spreadsheet that needs finishing at work. We can put ordinary math down, but you cannot put this down. And that tells you something important. What is keeping you awake is not the arithmetic. It is the story the arithmetic seems to be telling about you, because money worry is not math. It is a story that fear tells in the dark. And the story goes like this. Your security is a total you are personally responsible for reaching. And until you reach that total, you are not allowed to rest. If the number is not safe, then you are not safe. And here is the trap. The number is never, ever safe. There is no figure high enough to finally silence the fear, because the fear was never really about the figure. Sit with that, because it is the key to tonight. The thing keeping you awake is not, I owe money. That is just true. And things that are simply true can be faced in daylight, calmly, one step at a time. Number, the thing keeping you awake, is a belief that lives underneath the truth, quieter and much heavier. It is this. It is all on me. Every bit of it depends on me. And if I stop holding it, even for one night, even for 1 hour, it will all come crashing down. That belief is the reason you cannot put it down. Look at what it has convinced you of. It has convinced you that your worry is holding something up. That your fear right now, in the dark, is somehow the thing keeping the roof from falling in. That if you were to relax your grip even slightly, if you were to let yourself fully rest, the whole fragile structure of your life would collapse while you slept. And so you lie here, hour after hour, gripping with everything you have, gripping something you cannot actually hold in your hands, guarding a wall with the strength of your worry alone. But think about it honestly. The way you can only think at this hour, when all the pretending is used up. Your lying awake tonight is not paying a single bill. Your worry is not lowering the balance by 1 cent. The exhaustion you will carry into tomorrow will not make you sharper or stronger when you sit down to actually deal with this. It will make you slower, foggier, more afraid. The grip is not holding anything up. It never was. The wall your fear is guarding so fiercely was never being held up by your fear in the first place. You have been pouring out your strength all night to protect something. Your strength was never what was protecting. Maybe you have prayed about this before. Maybe you have prayed about it so many times that the prayers have gone thin and tired, worn down to a single word you repeat, without much hope left in it. And maybe a quiet part of you has started to wonder whether anyone is listening at all. Because if someone were listening, would not the number have changed by now? I understand that thought. It is an honest thought, and you are not faithless for having it at 2 in the morning. But I want to gently turn it over, because there is something underneath it worth seeing. The measure of whether you are heard was never whether the trouble vanished on your timeline. Some of the most held people who ever lived stayed inside their trouble for a long time, and were carried through it, step by step, not lifted out of it all at once. Being held is not the same as being rescued from every hard thing by morning. It is deeper than that, and quieter, and it lasts longer. And I know how tired you are of hearing that money will work out from people whose money already has. Advice is cheap at midnight. It slides right off. What you need at this hour is not a strategy. You have thought of every strategy already. You have turned every option over 100 times. That is part of what is keeping you awake. What you need at this hour is to be able to stop, just for a while, to lay the whole exhausting weight of it down somewhere safe, and close your eyes, and trust that it will still be manageable in the morning, and that you will be stronger for having rested. That is not giving up. That is the opposite of giving up. Resting so you can rise and face it well. That is one of the bravest things a tired person can do. I want to loosen that belief tonight, gently. Finger by finger, not all at once. And I want to be honest with you about how I am going to do it. Because you are tired of being told comfortable things that turn out not to be true. I am not going to promise you that the number will be different in the morning. I will not tell you that if you just believe hard enough, money will appear, or the debt will vanish, or tomorrow will be magically fixed. I will not say those things, because they might not happen. And I will not lie to you at 2 in the morning when you are at your most vulnerable and most in need of something real. What I am going to offer you instead is different and better and true. Not a promise that the weight will disappear. An invitation to set it down somewhere other than your own exhausted hands. Not into nothing. That is not rest. That is just denial. And denial keeps you awake too. But into hands that are stronger than yours. Hands that do not get tired. Hands that were always meant to carry the very thing you have been straining to hold alone. Because you were never meant to be the one holding it all up. You were never strong enough to be the guarantee of your own tomorrow. No one is. And the ache you feel tonight is partly the ache of trying to be something no human being was ever built to be. There is a place to set this down, and there are words, very old words, written to people whose money and security had collapsed far more completely than yours ever has, that I want to read over you now. This is from the book of Jeremiah, in the World English Bible, and I want you to hear who it was written to, because it changes everything. These words were sent to people who had lost it all, not people whose troubles were behind them, but people still deep inside the worst of it. Their homes were gone. Their land was gone. Their whole way of life had been torn up and carried off to a foreign city, and they had no map back and no reason to believe things would ever improve. They were in debt in every sense a person can be, and to those people, not to comfortable people, not to people who had it figured out, but to frightened and ruined people lying awake in a strange land. To those people, these words were sent. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, says Yahweh, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you hope and a future. Let that settle slowly, because it is easy to rush past it and miss what it is actually saying. These words were not spoken to people whose problem was already solved. They were spoken to people still standing in the middle of the trouble, with years of it still ahead of them. God did not say, "Your debt is erased tonight." He did not say, "Tomorrow it will all be fixed." He said something harder and deeper and far better than that. He said, "I know the thoughts I think toward you, and they are thoughts of peace, not thoughts of punishment." Sit with that. Not thoughts of, "You brought this on yourself." Not thoughts of, "You should have known better. You should have saved more. You should have been someone other than who you are." Thoughts of peace toward you, right in the middle of the mess, before one single thing has been fixed, while the number is still exactly what it is. Now, hear what that means for the story Fear has been telling you all night. Fear says the future is a threat you have to outrun, and that your worry is the running. Fear says if you stop worrying, you have stopped trying, and the future will catch you. But these words say something completely different. They say the future is not a threat waiting to ambush you. The future is already held. It is held by someone who is for you, who thinks toward you with peace, who is bending your story toward hope, even now, even tonight, even in ways you cannot see and cannot feel from inside the dark. You have been lying awake trying to be the guarantee of your own tomorrow, and you were never strong enough to be that. Not because you are weak, but because no one is. No human being was ever built to be their own guarantee. There is a guarantee for your life, but it was never your bank balance. It was never the strength of your worry. It was never you, holding on alone in the dark. The guarantee is a God who knows the thoughts he thinks toward you and calls them peace. Now, I want to speak something over you. Not a new message, not a voice from beyond, nothing strange, nothing like that. Just the same steady comfort that runs all the way through Scripture, from beginning to end, turned now in your direction and spoken softly, the way a good father speaks to a frightened child at the very edge of sleep, as though God, through his own written word, were leaning close and saying gently over you tonight, "Child, put the number down. You have carried it all day. You carried it through the morning, through the work, through the dinner, through the small talk and the good nights. You carried it up the stairs. You have earned your rest 100 times over. And now you are trying to pay for that rest with even more worry. And that is not how rest is bought. Rest was never something you had to earn by worrying enough. It is something I give to the ones I love while they sleep. I am not counting your debts against your worth. I never have been, not once. The world taught you to measure yourself by what is in your account, to add up your value the way you add up a bill. But I have never once looked at you that way. I looked at you before you had earned anything at all, before you could produce a single thing, before you could pay for a single thing, before you were useful or productive or successful by anyone's measure. I looked at you, and I called you mine, and that has not changed. And it will not change. Not on your best month, not on your worst, not tonight. You think it all rests on you. It does not. You are not the one holding the roof up over the people you love. You never were, even when you felt most alone in it. Set your grip down, not because the trouble is not real. It is real. I see every part of it, but because you were never the one strong enough to carry it alone, and you were never once asked to be. I am here in the dark of this room with you. I have been here the whole time, and I do not sleep. I never sleep, so that you can. Do you remember, before all of this, what it felt like to not be afraid of the mail? To open a drawer without your stomach tightening? I remember it. I remember you before the fear moved in and rearranged the furniture of your mind. And I want you to know, that person is not gone. The worry has covered them over like dust covers a window, but the light is still behind it. You are still in there. Frightened, yes. Worn down, yes. But whole and mine, and not defined by the hardest season of your life. You have believed for a long time now that you have to hold it all together or everything falls apart. Let me tell you a truer thing. The people you love do not need you to be a fortress. They need you present and rested, and here tomorrow. A parent who has slept can carry their children through a hard day. A parent who has lain awake all night, hollow and afraid, has less to give them. Not more, however much the worry felt like love. Your rest is not selfish. Your rest is a gift to the very people you are staying awake to protect. Rest is not you abandoning your post. Rest is you being wise enough to lay down a weight that was crushing the very strength your family depends on. And about tomorrow, you keep running ahead into it in your mind, living out every version of it that could go wrong. But you cannot live tomorrow tonight. It has not come. All the fear you spend on it now is spent for nothing, because tomorrow will need its own strength, and you cannot save strength by burning it in the dark hours before. Let tomorrow be tomorrow. I will be in it when it comes. The same way I am in this room now. You will not walk into it alone, and you will not walk into it empty, if you will only let yourself be filled again by sleep. The thoughts I think toward you are thoughts of peace, even now, even tonight, even with the number unchanged, and the morning still coming, and the way through still hidden. Peace toward you. Rest now. Stay there for a moment. You do not have to believe every word of it yet. You only have to stop fighting it long enough to breathe. So let us breathe together before we pray. There is no effort to this. You do not have to do it right. Just let the air come in slowly, gently, down past the tightness in your chest, and then let it go, long and slow, and as it goes, let your shoulders come down with it. They have been up near your ears for hours. Let them fall again. In slowly and out. And this time let your jaw unclench. Let your face soften. Let the frown you have been holding all day just melt away. One more. Breathe in whatever peace you can find in this quiet room. And breathe out the number, the due date, the what-ifs. Not forever, just for tonight, just for now. Let your hands, which have been clenched around something they cannot hold, come open on the blanket. Open hands, nothing to grip, nothing to guard. It is being held for you. And now, let me pray for you, so you do not have to find the words yourself. Because I know that when the worry has gone on this long, prayer gets hard. Sometimes all you have been able to say for weeks is a tired, wordless please. So let this prayer be yours tonight. You do not have to say it out loud. You do not have to feel it perfectly. You can just lie still and let it be true over you. Father, you know the number I have been carrying. You know it better than I do, down to the last figure. And you are not ashamed of me for it. Tonight I am tired, and I am afraid, and I am asking you to carry what I cannot carry anymore. I have been gripping this so tightly for so long, believing that all of it depended on me. Teach me tonight that it does not. You say you know the thoughts you think toward me, and that they are thoughts of peace. Let that be truer to me than the fear that has been so loud in this dark. I cannot fix this by morning, and I hear you telling me you are not asking me to, so I am setting it down. The balance, the due date, the what-ifs, the shame I have carried alone. I am placing all of it into your hands, which are stronger than mine, and never grow tired. Guard the people I love while they sleep. Guard my rest tonight. Quiet the endless counting in my mind. And let me sleep like someone who is held, someone who is safe, someone whose future is already in good hands. Amen. Breathe. The prayer is prayed now. It does not depend on you having said it perfectly or felt it fully. It has already been carried up on your behalf, and it was heard. Before you drift off, if there is anything left in you, you might whisper one simple line into the dark. Or if it helps to get it out of you and into the open, leave it in the comments below, where all the other people awake tonight will see it, and know they are not the only one. Just this, Lord, I release it to you. That is all. 5 words. You do not have to mean them with your whole heart yet. You only have to be willing to say them, and let the willingness be enough for tonight. And now, let the room go quiet. The number is still there. It will still be there in the morning. I promise not to lie to you, and I will not. But the morning is hours away, and you do not have to reach it by staying awake all night to guard it. Nothing is being decided in these dark hours. No good is coming to you from lying here afraid. The work you can actually do, you will do in the light, with rested hands and a clearer mind, and more strength than you have right now. And the work you cannot do, the part that was never yours to carry alone, is already being held by someone who does not sleep, and does not tire, and does not count your worth in what you owe. So let your shoulders stay down, let your hands stay open. You have set it down, and you are allowed to leave it down until morning. You are seen tonight, exactly as you are, with the account exactly as it is, with nothing hidden and nothing to be ashamed of. You are not alone in this dark. Thousands are resting beside you across all the quiet time zones of the earth. And the one who made you is nearer to you than the fear ever was. And whatever this hard season has whispered to you, hear this last. Your story is not finished. And the final word over your life will never be a number. It will be peace. Rest now, you are held sleep. These prayers are offered for comfort and reflection, and are not a substitute for financial, medical, or mental health advice. If money worry is affecting your sleep, your health, or your hope over time, please reach out to someone you trust, a doctor, a counselor, a free debt advice service, or a crisis line in your country. You do not have to carry this alone, and asking for help is a brave and good thing to do.